Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers are a professional American football team based in Green Bay, Wisconsin. The Packers compete in the National Football League, NFL, as a member club of the National Football Conference, NFC, North Division. It is the third oldest franchise in the NFL, dating back to 1919-10, and is the only non-profit, community-owned Major League professional sports team based in the United States. 11 home games have been played at Lambeau Field since 1957. The Packers are the last of the small-town teams which were common in the NFL during the league's early days of the 1920s and 1930s. Founded in 1919 by Earl Curly Lambeau and George Whitney Calhoun, the franchise traces its lineage to other semi-professional teams in Green Bay dating back to 1896. Between 1919 and 1920, the Packers competed against other semi-pro clubs from around Wisconsin and the Midwest, before joining the American Professional Football Association, APFA, the forerunner of today's NFL, in 1921. Although Green Bay is by far the smallest major league professional sports market in North America, 12 Forbes ranked the Packers as the world's 27th most valuable sports franchise in 2019, with a value of $2.63 billion. The Packers have won 13 league championships, the most in NFL history, with 9 pre-Super Bowl NFL titles and 4 Super Bowl victories. The Packers won the first 2 Super Bowls in 1967 and 1968 and were the only NFL team to defeat the American Football League, AFL, prior to the AFL-NFL merger. The Vince Lombardi Trophy is named after the Packers coach Vince Lombardi, who guided them to their first 2 Super Bowls. Their 2 subsequent Super Bowl wins came in 1996 and 2010. Additionally, with at least one playoff game yet to be played in the 2019 NFL season, the Packers have won more games, including playoff wins, than any NFL franchise with a total of 7, 91, 14, 15. The Packers are long-standing adversaries of the Chicago Bears, Minnesota Vikings, and Detroit Lions, who today form the NFL's NFC North Division, formerly known as the NFC Central Division. They have played over 100 games against each of those teams through history, and have a winning overall record against all of them, a distinction only shared with the Kansas City Chiefs and Dallas Cowboys. The Bears-Packers rivalry is one of the oldest rivalries in U.S. professional sports history, dating back to 1921. History of the Green Bay Packers. The Green Bay Packers were founded on August 11, 1919 by former high school football rivals Earl Curly Lambeau and George Whitney Calhoun. 16 Lambeau solicited funds for uniforms from his employer, the Indian Packing Company, a meat packing company. 17 He was given $500, $7,400 today, for uniforms and equipment, on the condition that the team be named for its sponsor. 18 The Green Bay Packers have played in their original city longer than any other team in the NFL. On August 27, 1921, the Packers were granted a franchise in the American Professional Football Association, a new national pro football league that had been formed the previous year. The APFA changed its name to the National Football League a year later. Financial troubles plagued the team and the franchise was forfeited within the year before Lambeau found new financial backers and regained the franchise the next year. These backers, known as the Hungry Five, formed the Green Bay Football Corporation. 1929 to 1931, Lambeau's team arrives. After a near miss in 1927, Lambeau's squad claimed the Packers' first NFL title in 1929 with an undefeated 12-0-1 campaign, behind a stifling defense which registered 8 shutouts. 20 Green Bay would repeat as league champions in 1930 and 1931, bettering teams from New York, Chicago, and throughout the league, with all-time greats and future Hall of Famers Mike Michalski, Johnny Blood McNally, Cal Hubbard, and Green Bay native Arnie Herbert. 21-22 Among the many impressive accomplishments of these years was the Packers' streak of 29 consecutive home games without defeat, an NFL record which still stands. 1935 to 1945, the Don Hudson Era. The arrival of Don Hudson from Alabama in 1935 gave Lambeau and the Packers the most feared and dynamic offensive weapon in the game. Credited with inventing pass patterns, Hudson would lead the league in receptions 8 seasons and spur the Packers to NFL championships in 1936, 1939, and 1944. An Iron Man, Hudson played both ways, leading the league in interceptions as a safety in 1940. Hudson claimed 18 NFL records when he retired in 1945, many of which still stand. 24 In 1951, His number 14 was the first to be retired by the Packers, and he was inducted as a charter member of the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1963. 1946 to 1958, Wilderness. After Hudson's retirement, Lambeau could not stop the Packers' slide. He purchased a large lodge near Green Bay for team members and families to live. Rockwood Lodge was the home of the 1946-49 Packers. The 1947 and 1948 seasons produced a record of 12, 10, 1, and 1949 was even worse at 3-9. The lodge burned down on January 24, 1950, and insurance money paid for many of the Packers' debts. Curly Lambeau departed after the 1949 season. Gene Ronzini and Lyle Blackburn could not coach the Packers back to their former magic, even as a new stadium was unveiled in 1957. The losing would descend to the disastrous 1958 campaign under coach Ray Scooter McLean, whose lone 1-10-1 year at the helm is the worst in Packers history. 1959 to 1967, the Lombardi era and the glory years. Former New York Giants assistant Vince Lombardi was hired as Packers head coach and general manager on February 2, 1959. Few suspected the hiring represented the beginning of a remarkable, immediate turnaround. Under Lombardi, the Packers would become the team of the 1960s, winning 5 world championships over a 7-year span, including victories in the first 2 Super Bowls. During the Lombardi era, the stars of the Packers offense included Bart Starr, Jim Taylor, Carroll Dale, Paul Hornung, as halfback and place kicker, Forrest Gregg, and Jerry Kramer. The defense included Willie Davis, Henry Jordan, Willie Wood, Ray Nitschke, Dave Robinson, and Herb Adderley. 1959, Lombardi's first season. The Packers' first regular season game under Lombardi was on September 27, 1959, a 9-6 victory over the Chicago Bears in Green Bay. After winning their first 3, the Packers lost the next 5 before finishing strong by sweeping their final 4. The 7-5 record represented the Packers' first winning season since 1947, enough to earn rookie head coach Lombardi the NFL Coach of the Year. 1960. The next year, the Packers, led by Paul Hornung's 176 points, won the NFL West title and played in the NFL Championship against the Philadelphia Eagles at Philadelphia. In a seesaw game, the Packers trailed by only 4 points when All-Pro Eagle linebacker Chuck Bednarik tackled Jim Taylor just 9 yards short of the goal line as time expired. 1961. The Packers returned to the NFL Championship game the following season and faced the New York Giants in the first league title game to be played in Green Bay. The Packers scored 24 second-quarter points, including a championship record 19 by Paul Hornung, on special loan from the Army, 1 touchdown, 4 extra points, and 3 field goals, powering the Packers to a 37-0 rout of the Giants, their first NFL championship since 1944-27. It was in 1961 that Green Bay became known as Titletown. 1962. The Packers stormed back in the 1962 season, jumping out to a 10-0 start, on their way to a 13-1 season. This consistent level of success would lead to Lombardi's Packers becoming one of the most prominent teams of their era, and to being featured as the face of the NFL on the cover of Time on December 21, 1962, as part of the magazine's cover story on the Sport of the 60s. 28 Shortly after Time's article, the Packers faced the Giants in a much more brutal championship game than the previous year, but the Packers prevailed on the kicking of Jerry Kramer and the determined running of Jim Taylor. The Packers defeated the Giants in New York, 16-7. 1965. The Packers returned to the championship game in 1965 following a 2-year absence when they defeated the Colts in a playoff for the Western Conference title. That game would be remembered for Don Chandler's controversial tying field goal in which the ball allegedly went wide right, but the officials signaled good. The 13-10 overtime win earned the Packers a trip to the NFL championship game, where Hornung and Taylor ran through the defending champion Cleveland Browns, helping the Packers win, 23-12, to earn their 3rd NFL championship under Lombardi and 9th overall. Goalpost uprights would be made taller the next year. 1966, the first AFL-NFL World Championship game. The 1966 season saw the Packers led to the first ever Super Bowl by MVP quarterback Bart Starr. The team went 12-2, and as time wound down in the NFL Championship against the Dallas Cowboys, the Packers clung to a 34-27 lead. Dallas had the ball on the Packers' 2-yard line, threatening to tie the ball game. but on fourth down the Packers' Tom Brown intercepted Don Meredith's pass in the end zone to seal the win. The team crowned its season by rolling over the AFL champion Kansas City Chiefs 35-10 in Super Bowl I.